Hello everyone, Bradley Sward here. This is my day 5 solution to the Advent of Code 2024. The problem is called print queue. I'm doing it in Python almost as always. So the problem is basically we have a book and these elves like to print things in different orders than normal people do. That doesn't mean that they're abnormal, it just means they're doing things differently. So page 47 has to come before page 53 and so forth and so on. And so the question is, at least for part one, which ones are already listed in correct order? Because if you're out of order, the elves are not happy, and we want our elves happy in Christmas season. So let's keep them happy. And then for everyone that is good, for everyone that follows all the rules of which go before what and all the nonsense with that, what is the middle element? Apparently, they're all odd numbered number of pages that they give us for the data set. In this case, if 61 would be the number if that was correct, and so forth and so on. And if you go ahead and you look through every one of these lines and you check it against every one of these rules, do you get the answer of the middle numbers adding up to whatever it's supposed to add up to? And in part one, I am supposed to get the answer of 4,569. So let's see my code here, where basically I'm looking at things and I'm saying I'm opening up my file and I'm taking everything out, I'm stripping off all the white space, and then I'm going through the first part of everything and I'm figuring out where the break in the code or where the break in the data is. And otherwise, I'm taking that data and I'm breaking it up into the two parts, splitting it by the pipe. Then when I finally hit the endline character, well, I'm done with the rules, and now I'm on to the data itself, and then that's the rest of the file. Which basically from then on in, I take things and I split by the comma, and then the rules. I moved stuff around a minute ago to get this because I thought I was being cool, and I guess I need this. Up top just to save a line of code. But anyway, just to kind of get the point across, I got my rules, I have my data. And then I'm going to need this for part two, which you don't know about probably, or maybe you do, or maybe you don't. But then as I'm going through, as I described a minute ago here, for every piece of data, for every line in the actual data, I'm going to check against every rule in the data, of all the rules I need to follow. And for any one of them, I got to make sure that if both of the numbers in a rule is in that file or in that data, then I have to make sure that the one on the left is less than the one on the right. So, and they're not going to be equal because page 2 can't be page 3. It doesn't make any sense. So if I break out immediately, if it turns out that I can't make this, if this rule set doesn't apply to this data, and just to get to part 2, I append it so that I can use it for later on. But if I go through the whole set and all the rules match and everybody's happy, I find the middle element using integer division, the middle element of the data set, and then I add that to the total. And for part 1, I will get my 4,569, and I do. And then you can see for part 2, I get the answer 6,456. What is that all about, right? And so now, I thought this was a pretty cool one. It actually turned out to be simpler than I thought to solve it. Is that what you have to do now is for all the incorrect ones that were initially incorrect up above, go through and correct them, and then from that tell me what the sum of all the middle elements of those are. And you go, oh my goodness, that sounds crazy. And it kind of was until you think about the rules and to think about how numbers are ordered and how pages are ordered and how the rules are. So there's my 6,456 compared to the 6,456 I see here. So for part 2, look, the data, the very similar code here. It's basically saying I'm going to look through for every incorrect one, every one that was incorrect originally. I'm going to go through and basically I'm just going to swap the values. If I see something that's out of place, I'm going to swap A with B, and I'm going to go through until I go through for each piece of data. I'm going to go through and I make a pass through the whole data, and it follows the rules. And so all you really have to do is just make sure that if, instead of in here breaking out and doing nothing if the rule doesn't fit, you just swap the data out, and then you just do this for each one of them until you end up with the set being completely correct. You add that to the list, and then you get the solution to your problem. Turned out to be, I thought there was going to be a whole bunch more to it than there actually was to solving this problem. So that is my solution to this problem. I had fun with this one. I took the night off. I just passed out last night. These are getting to me with everything else going on with ending the semester and everything, but that's okay. But that is how I solved this problem. If you have anything to comment or add, I'd love to hear it. As always, how do I make my code better? How do I make my logic better? And I hope that maybe this helped you as well. So thanks. Looking forward to day 6 tonight. Definitely we'll get a look at it tonight. Thanks for sticking out with me as always here and looking through my code and talking to me here virtually through the internets. Have a good day, everybody. Take care. See you then.